Hi, so we'll be starting with lesson 4, your legal and other affairs. Now, in this chapter, they talk about environment and all this current affairs with respect to that, with respect to the judicial system, with respect to the tribunals, and with respect to special investigative bodies. So, let's start slowly. And as we do, you can mark the important part of this chapter for which MCQs can be asked. Firstly, the recent important we'll be talking about the Supreme Court, High Court, tribunals and its judgment. In India, we have Supreme Court as the apex body or the topmost judicial court in India. It is the final court of appeal. Beyond Supreme Court, there is no other court. And it has the highest constitutional court and the highest position in the constitution. Below the Supreme Court comes your High Court, and below the High Court you can have called as subordinate courts, subordinate to the High Court, also called as tribunals. Now, what are tribunals? Tribunals are courts which take up specific matters. So the High Court cannot handle all the burden of the cases in India. इतने सारे cases होते हैं, the High Court cannot handle it. So they create specific tribunals for specific purpose. For example, you can have NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. Only company law related matters will go there. Company matters will go there. We have the Income Tax Tribunal. Only Income Tax Tribunal goes. Income tax related matters go there. Same way we have the Family Court. Only family matters go there. We have the Labor Court. Only labor matters go there. So these are all subordinate courts, and the highest court is Supreme Court. Now, India is a federal state. When I say federal, means it has a central government and it has a state government. So India is a federal government, and the judicial system, that is the judiciary, means the courts, are divided into three parts. One is your Supreme Court, the second is your High Court, and the third is your subordinate courts. Now let's look at where does the Supreme Court's provisions are covered in the Constitution. So when we go to the Constitution of India, we have to go to article number 124 to 124 to 147 in part 5, which deals with the jurisdiction, powers and procedures of the Supreme Court. Means Supreme Court के related जो भी चीजें हैं उनका jurisdiction means किस type के matters वो उठा सकते हैं, what kind of jurisdiction or powers does it have, and the procedure it has to follow. So for all of this, where do I have to go? Article 124 to 147 in part 5 of the Constitution deals with the Supreme Court. This is where they can ask you a MCQ. So wherever they can ask you for MCQ, I'll write it as a MCQ. Next, in article 124, when I go, we want to see how many judges are there in the Supreme Court. So normally a court will have judges, and the judges will have a head who will govern all these, are called as Chief Justice. So as per article 124, the Parliament states that the Supreme Court of India shall have 7 other judges and a Chief Justice. 7 other judges and a Chief Justice. So we will have in total 8, including CGI. This is exactly what is given here. That originally the strength, the total number of judges in the Supreme Court was fixed at 8, one Chief Justice and 7 other judges. But very important line was written here as well, that until the Parliament prescribes for a larger number. So the Parliament did prescribe for a larger number. Parliament ne, obviously 8 is not enough to deal with all the case loaded in India. So धीरे धीरे बढ़ाया. It was last 31, and recently they increased from 31 to 34 including the CGI. So this is an important exam MCQ that they can ask you, that at present how many judges are there in the Supreme Court. So in Supreme Court we have a total of max 34 judges that can be there, including the Chief Justice of India. Now question comes with respect to the appointment. Who will appoint the judges of the Supreme Court? So in MCQ they very good. So in the exam they can ask you who can appoint. So the answer is the President. The judges of the Supreme Court is appointed by the President. Now what about the Chief Justice? So the Chief Justice is also appointed by the President, but after consultation with such other judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court as he deems necessary. So the judges of Supreme Court are appointed by the President, but for the Chief Justice, the President has to consult other judges also. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now we'll be seeing some important judgments of the Supreme Court which are present and relevant today. The first one we will be seeing, okay, important judgments of the Supreme Court. A important judgment is the Madras Bar Association versus Union of India. Now the Madras Bar Association filed a case on the Union of India. The Union of India is the central government. They filed a case on the Union of India. There were 3 judges who sat and decided this case, and the judgment was with respect, the point of issue, dispute किसके बारे में था? It was with respect to this act, the Tribunals Reforms, Rationalization and Conditions of Service Ordinance 2021. So this was an issue. So I'll tell you what it is, and you have to tell me whether it would have been kept, this ordinance would have been kept, or it would have been revoked, it had been removed. So earlier, this tribunal, okay, reforms, rationalization and condition of service, the union government, the central government made a law getting powers to appoint the judges, to select their salary, to decide whether they should be extended or not. So all these powers were given to the central government. So this ordinance stated that the central government would be responsible for making rules for appointment, salary, tenures of the members of the tribunal. Now you tell me, is it good where the central government is trying to appoint judges of tribunals?
No.
Yes or no? Should we keep it? Should we
No,
give them?
sir.
So the answer is, this act, this ordinance was held to be unconstitutional. It was said it is against the constitution. The central government cannot appoint the judges. Why? Because if in the government there is a fraud, there is a scam by a minister, court will not be able to take up the matter freely because the appointment is in their hand, the salary is in the hand of the government. So therefore we want to keep a independence of judiciary. Independence matlab kya? Keep the central government separately and keep the courts separately. So this has been struck down. So this ordinance has been said to be unconstitutional and it was removed. Till here it is clear? Yeah. The next we are seeing is your Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai versus Ankita Sinha. In this, it was held whether the National Green Tribunal has suo motu powers. First, let's understand what is National Green Tribunal. National Green Tribunal is a tribunal which deals with environmental matters. Now tell me, if this National Green Tribunal has found wrongdoings, they have found that there is something wrong in the India, don't you think the tribunal should have suo motu powers? Suo motu powers means they can act proactively on its own. They will directly go and say that this industry is polluting and they don't have to wait for someone to complain to act. So should we give the National Green Tribunal suo motu powers? Yes or no?
They should have. Yes.
Yes. So then it was held that yes, the National Green Tribunal has suo motu powers to take up any matter with respect to environment, because the object is very noble. एक noble object के लिए बना है. Noble object is to protect the environment and ensure that everybody has a healthy environment to live in, and it guarantees our right to life. Because if we don't have a healthy environment, we have all pollution, industries are polluting everywhere, we will not be able to survive for long. So it was held that yes, the National Green Tribunals can take up matters individually. Now looking at Supreme Court on certain special investigative bodies. Now let's understand what are these special investigative bodies. Now the courts have to decide matters. When they have to decide matters, we have to go deep into a case with evidence. In all these serials you must have seen CDI, CID, you must have seen the EOW, you must have seen ED. These are all different kinds of investigative bodies which investigate into serious matters in India. So let's see, there are three important case laws which we are talking about with respect to independence of these bodies. Now when I say independence means what? They should be should they be kept independent or they should be kept under the government control?
Independent.
So what do others feel? Should we make these bodies, investigative bodies, independent, or we should put them under the government?
Independent.
Very good. When I say independent means what? They are free to act on their own. Free to act on their own. Otherwise, what will happen? That these agencies will become a I don't know whether you all can identify this line. This I'm drawing something, and there is a parrot inside. So what do you call it?
Cage.
Yeah, so it's called as a caged parrot. When I say caged parrot means they can't do anything. They are not freed only, they are not independent. So sometimes we have to give free powers to these investigating bodies, because sometimes even a politician के घर पे raid हो सकती है. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Now the reverse is also a problem, that if we give too much powers to these bodies, can it lead to injustice? Can it lead to more chaos?
Absolutely. Yes.
Now answer is, boss, we need to draw a line of how much freedom to give. So there was these cases and it was headed by the Kapil Sibal. We'll see this case what it was, and I want you all to tell me whether it makes sense or not. Powers of agencies investigating economic offences. When I say economic means related to money. We know we have crores of scams. Money involved is there where it is huge. So we had to discuss with the powers of these agencies, that the officers should not be like, now we have no control, we can do whatever we want, we can arm twist the politician, etc. So let's see what is this case. The Vijay Mandallal Chaudhary versus Union of India. Now I know you all might not know this, but this is this is going to be a landmark case. This is going to be a landmark judgment. It will change a lot of things in India. Let's understand what it is. Specialized agencies such as Directorate of Enforcement, which deals with money laundering, CFO, which deals with serious fraud when companies have these Ponzi schemes, etc. They come in. The Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. Now DRI keeps looking at certain kind of underlining fraud that is going on in the economy. Parallel economy चल रहा है, इन लोग का drugs में deal कर रहे हैं, ये continue. So they are intelligence sources keep giving them. In this, all these agencies are there. They are empowered to issue summons, record the statement, seize the property. So they can call anyone, it's called as a summons. They can record the statement, they can make arrest, and they can even seize the property. Make sense? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Summon means what? ED का summons आया. They will give a notice that XYZ, you please come with all the documents and tell us why action should not be taken on you. So we are summoning you to hear your plea. Whatever you say will be recorded. Any line you say will be recorded. And if on the spot the ED finds that yes, we have found you guilty, at that moment we can even arrest you. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
They can present you in court, but at the moment, because if we release you, you will go out of India. So sometimes they can even have preventive detention, detain you. And if we feel that you absconded like Vijay Mallya or Nirav Modi, we can even seize your property. Right? Now, despite having police powers, don't you think they have all the powers like a police?
Yes, sir.
Because they can arrest, they can ask you questions, they can remand you, all those things are there. These agencies are not bound by the CRPC because CRPC covers police and you have police like powers, but they were not declared to be police. So again, let me explain in simple words. All these investigation agencies had police like powers, but they were not declared police. They were not declared police under the act, under act. So because of which the what procedure is to be followed in normal cases, in normal criminal cases, were not being applied on this. The CRPC which is there, the Criminal Procedure Code 1973, a procedure is to be followed. That procedure was not followed. Now you tell me, is it good or it is bad?
Bad.
What do others feel? That these investigating agencies are not being bound by the CRPC, so they don't follow that procedure. Is it good or bad?
Bad.
So this has been challenged and they said that we want that the CRPC should also come on them. And because what is happening, since this is not being followed, since the CRPC not being bound by them, they don't follow the procedure. So they can go anywhere. So therefore we want them that these you have powers, but that has to be followed in a certain way. So a group of 200 petitioners seeking judicial intervention, they want judiciary to come in, they want courts to come in into the lack of procedural checks and balances against the misuse of wide powers to these agencies that are there. It is likely to be heard in by Justice Kanivarar, but if the order is not yet given. The powers of these agencies are often seen to be used against political opponents. Haven't you seen sometimes if I am the government and I see that there is an opponent, we try to put the income tax raid on his house, ED raid on his house, yes or no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Because many times they misuse the powers. So the powers of these agencies are often used as against political opponents. And therefore we have to define the limits of these powers, is what this case is about. Clear till here?
Yeah.
Judgment is yet not given. Okay, and if I just take you through the part, there it was filed by Kapil Sibal and the matter is still in court. And only thing they want is these agencies should be bound by a proper CRPC or a boundary should be made for their powers. Next is executive discretion in CBI and ED director term extension. Now see, executive discretion on the in CBI and ED, Crime Branch of India and the Enforcement Directorate. These are our two investigation agencies. They are term extension. Let's understand. This case was filed. Now again, when I say Union of India, means which government are they filing a case on? central government. And very famous politician. Have you heard of our Mahua Moitra?
No, sir.
Okay. So Justice Rao is likely to hear the Tribunal Congress. Okay. MP, Member of Parliament, Mahua Moitra petition challenging the amendment. So there was an amendment. Now you tell me whether it should be allowed or not allowed. The executive means the government. Okay, the executive here means whom? So there are three parts. Remember, we have done our constitution has three important organs. Anyone can tell me which one it is? One, I will tell you, the judiciary, the legislative,
And the executive.
perfect, and the executive. The judiciary is the courts. The legislative is the parliament which makes the law, and the executive is the government and the police agencies. Till here it is clear?
Yeah.
Because they execute the law. One makes the law, legislative makes the law, parliament makes the law. Judiciary interprets the law. देखते कि law तुमने violate किया है या नहीं, whether you violated the law or not. And execute, implement the law. Now, tell me one thing. If so, the executive, when I'm talking here, is about whom? The central government. Central government is getting a power to extend the term of the directors of CBI and ED. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing.
What do others feel? Central government, that is the executive, is getting the power, challenging the petition amendments to allow the executive, that the government, to extend the term of the directors of the ED and CBI. Don't you think if this power is given to the central government, only the officers who have worked for their benefit will extend the term?
Yes, sir.
So then it is giving too much powers to the executive. So what she argued, that the amendment empowers the executive to wield excessive power and control over the investigative agencies. So then the courts will have to consider whether this is violating the right of fair investigation and trial. Because if I am an investigating agency and I know that my appointment is handled by, extension can be given by the government, will I take action against the government?
Yes, sir.
So I will get scared that if I take action on the executive, that is the government, it is possible they will not give me an extension. So we want to keep independence, separation of these powers, and we don't want the government to control the investigating agencies. Still here it is clear?
Yeah.
Now this was a very famous matter. I think you must have heard, the Gujarat riots. Judgment has come
Yes.
recently. The case was of Zakia Ehsan Jafri versus State of Gujarat. Now Zakia Jafri was the wife of Ehsan Jafri. Ehsan Jafri, who was killed in the Gujarat riots. Now what happened is, he made a call to the government and said that please give me protection, there is riots going on. The government was alleged of not sending protection in the right time, because of which he was killed. So his wife Ehsan Jafri filed a case on the Gujarat government only, that the government did not do enough to protect and prevent the riots. Now ultimately, what was the judgment? Did the state of Gujarat get a clean chit? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So the answer is they got a clean chit, and it was held that the government was not involved and was not held accountable. Till here it is clear?
Yes.
Yes. So this was the judgment which is already passed, and a clean chit has been given to the Gujarat government in the Gujarat riots case. Then came the High Court of India. Okay, the High Courts of India. Now we were talking about Supreme Court and Supreme Court decisions. Now below the Supreme Court comes the High Court. Now the High Court is the supreme judicial body in a state. According to Article 214, each state shall have a High Court. Yes or no?
Yes.
So we have the Bombay High Court, we have the Gujarat High Court, we have the Madras High Court, we have the Delhi High Court, we have the Calcutta High Court. So all of these High Courts are there in every state. In that state, it is the highest court. Article 215, Article 215 and 26 of the Indian Constitution states that every High Court shall be a court of record and shall have all the powers such as court, including the power to punish for contempt of itself. So remember, what does this mean? Firstly, in the state which is the supreme body, Supreme Court,
High Court.
so that is the High Court, the most apex body in a state. In Bombay, the most Supreme Court is the High Court. Now, this is Article 214 says that every, now this can come for MCQ, each state shall have a High Court. Article 215 and 26 say that every court shall be a court of record. Means they will maintain proper records of who is the petitioner, who is the respondent, and there are these particular reports also which are there. All India reporter means you can find the cases where all it is. So it's a court of record. So all the recordings are documented. Next, it also has the power to punish for contempt of court. Now, what does contempt of court say? Now, contempt of court means, can I insult a court?
No.
No. So, if we insult a court, the court can send a notice to us and say that you have.
Yes.
So, this has happened many times where now due to online proceedings, there was one person, he was having coke and arguing. Is it okay?
No.
No. So what happened? Imagine if I'm teaching and at the same time I'm having a pizza and coke. Is it professionalism?
No, sir.
No. So this, unfortunately, one person from the lawyer was doing. He had coke. The court, the judges got very angry. They said this is a contempt of court. You have disrespected the court, and we can fine you for this thing, or we can even remove your name from the advocates journal and from the advocates records. Clear till here?
Clear.
Yeah. Every, and sometimes even cartoonists. There are some cartoonists, they had drawn. The Supreme Court had passed a controversial decision. So a cartoon was made of the Supreme Court, and it was written, instead of Supreme Court of India, it was written, you are a supreme joke of India. It was written, you are a supreme joke of India. Now tell me one thing, this is also contempt of the Supreme Court or no?
Yes. Sir, but it should be allowed in a democratic country like that, right?
Now again, very very good that when we talk about free speech, that we are allowed the freedom of speech and expression. But this freedom of speech and expression has its limit. This limit should be that you shouldn't end up doing a contempt of court. You can criticize a court for its judgment, but the way you criticize is also equally important. If we feel that you are making jokes on the Supreme Court may take action. Okay, and the defense to the person will be, he will say, I have free speech in a democratic country. So, Article 19 of the Constitution gives you freedom of speech and expression, but it says that the speech that you make should not be against public policy, should not be inciting violence, should not affect the sovereignty and integrity of India, should not affect friendly relations with other countries. So all that is equally important. So if Supreme Court finds, they will call you that you have insulted the Supreme Court, you please come and explain your viewpoint. If it is found that is an honest opinion without malified intention, then you will be held not guilty. Clear till here? So it depends on what you have said and the judgment. Clear?
Yeah.
Yes. So it depends on the facts of the case. Sometimes you might not find a even if I criticize is there, but criticism has to draw a line, and you have to find a way to say where you don't end up insulting the entire judicial system of India. Okay. Now going further, there are following 25 high courts in India. There are following 25 high courts in India, where 3 having control over more than one state. Delhi has its own high court among the union territory. Many people don't know whether Delhi is a state or a union territory.
Union Debt.
Very, very good. So Delhi is a union territory. Now, how do you define what is a state and what is a union territory? The state will have its own legislature, own parliament, but a union territory will not have its own parliament. The state is governed by the state government. So who controls the state? Which government controls the state? State government. But which government controls the union territory? The central government controls the union territories. Clear till here? Yes. So then they have given you all these high courts. There are 5, and there are 5 tables. So they have given you total of 25 high court details have been given to you. Clear till here? So these are 5 and these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means 25 high courts names have been given. You can just read it once. Not important. Now we did the Supreme Court. Then we read about the High Court, and now we are reading about the tribunals. Now you tell me, can the workload of India, imagine the population of India, imagine how many disputes are there in India, how many family disputes, labor disputes, company disputes, consumer disputes are there. Can we leave it all on the High Court and Supreme Court?
No.
No.
No, sir.
So we have to set up tribunals. We have to set up these tribunals. Are these specific matter courts are called as tribunals. They are not full-fledged court. They cannot take up everything. They can only take up what powers have been given to them.
Quasi-judicial body.
Very, very good. I was just going to write that these are called as quasi-judicial bodies. Means they are partly judicial. The best example of this could be a family court, could be a labor court, could be an income tax tribunal, could be NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, could mean a consumer court, okay, could mean a NGT we just did, National Green Tribunal, deals with environmental related matters, and many of these tribunals have been set up in India. Okay, so let's see whether Constitution has given powers to the government to set up these tribunals or no, because power has to be there, only then these tribunals can be made. Okay, so let's say the enactment, so a particular act was made, Administrative Tribunals Act 1985, made a new chapter in the sphere of administering justice to the aggrieved government servants. Administrative tribunals owes its origin to, now this is important, they can ask you, from where do you get the powers? Article 323A of the Indian Constitution empowers the central government to set up an act of parliament, the administrative tribunals, for adjudicating of disputes and complaints with respect to recruitment and conditions of service of persons appointed to public service and post in connection with the affairs of the states and union territories. Let's understand. When I say administrative work, administrative means what? They run the government. Can I say that the BMC, the Bombay Municipal Corporation, is an administrative body? They administer justice. They have a certain role. They complete that role, etc. Now again, administrative bodies are these specific tribunals to deal with specific matters. Okay. Now let's see. The administrative tribunals jurisdictions exercise jurisdiction only in relation to service matters of litigants covered by the Act. So they only cover matters to those specific people to whom they are catered. Now again, the procedural simplicity Act can be appreciated from the fact that the aggrieved person can also appear personally. Now very simple. One more thing is these tribunals are there. In these tribunals, if I am aggrieved, I am sad with any particular happening in India, I can go up and appear in this tribunal. Normally, in High Court and Supreme Court, can I individually appear or have to appear through a legal practitioner?
Have to appear through
Legal practitioners. But in these tribunals, you can go and work, stand individually and speak also. So in family court, you can yourself only go say that I don't have any lawyer, I only want to speak. Okay. However, if you're filing a case on the government, then the government can represent its case through its departmental officers or through legal practitioners. The objective of the tribunal is to provide a speedy and inexpensive justice to the litigants. The Act provides for establishment of central administrative tribunal and the state administrative tribunals. It was set up. Now these are some facts. On 1st November 1985, there are 17 so many circuit benches are there. So circuit benches are, they can keep changing from one place to another the judges, so that in one place the judge doesn't get monopoly and then cannot be influenced. Okay. Now we'll be coming to few of these tribunals which you will understand, and also the most important tribunal from a company secretary point of view. Now you tell me, if there is a company dispute, in which court will it go?
NCLT.
Very good.
NCLT.
First, earlier, these matters used to reach up to the High Court. The High Court said that there are so many company disputes, let's make a separate tribunal only. So, under company law, now this is very important, they can ask you, section 408 of Companies Act 2013. It talks about setting up a tribunal called as NCLT. So I have appeared in NCLT also. So there was a matter with dispute between two companies. So we had appeared there. Okay. Now if you're unhappy with NCLT, you can go in appeal to NCLAT. That is your National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. Okay, and that is formed under section number 410. Till here it is clear.
Yes.
And from there, if I am still unhappy, then I will go to the Supreme Court. Okay? They can take up. The NCLAT can also take appeals for matters under Insolvency Bankruptcy Code of India. It can hear from CCI also. Now, what is CCI also? Competition Commission of India. If there is an appeal from CCI, it goes to NCLAT, and from NCLAT it will go to the Supreme Court. Now let's understand what is CCI. It's just for knowledge sake right now for you all. Whenever competition is affected, tell me one thing. Everybody wants to be in monopoly, yes or no?
Yes.
We want monopoly power. But if we find a new entrant into the market, a new person has started a business, don't you think we'll find it as a threat?
Yes, sir.
So what will happen? The one who has monopoly will try to destroy the new entrant.
Sir.
He will try to kill competition. In simple words, what will he do?
Suppress the competition.
Suppress the competition, misuse their dominant position. They will tell all their suppliers nobody will deal with this new guy. In many times in Bollywood, I think it is criticized that new entrants are finding very difficult to come into the limelight. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, whenever something like this is there, where newcomers are finding it difficult because already who are set are creating barriers, obstacles, hindrances, and issues. So then you can approach the CCI, Competition Commission of India, and tell CCI that they see that these people are misusing their powers, they are creating these roadblocks, and because of which we cannot function. I'll give you a case. There are many cases, but one simple case I'll tell you. Have you heard of Jab Tak Hai Jaan?
Yes, sir.
So there was a case. Now this, anyone can tell me which was the banner under which it was? Hmm? Which was this banner?
Yash Raj film.
Yashraj Films versus Son of Sardar. It was of Ajay Devgan. So Ajay Devgan filed a case in CCI that see Jab Tak Hai Jaan is trying to take away all the multiplexes, singleplexes due to their power, and because of which I cannot screen my movie only. Then this matter went on into the CCI. Till here it is clear.
Yeah.
Because Ajay Devgan said that if he is only putting in the single plex in a single theater where only one screen is there, only if Yashraj film is there, then where will I put my film? Then how will I? It's not there only. If I want to watch a movie, I don't in all the single plexes, single cinemas. Jab Tak Hai Jaan was running, and because of which Ajay Devgan has faced a lot of loss. However, CCI in the end had favored Jab Tak Hai Jaan Yashraj Films only because they had contracts with the people much prior to Ajay Devgan. Till here it is clear, but if at any time you feel that your competition is being suppressed, you can approach CCI. Clear till here?
Yes.
Yeah. Now coming to your current affairs related to ICSI, the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, all of which we are connected with. Now, ICSI, first, their objective is to develop corporate governance professionals. To make whom? Corporate governance professional. Now, what do you mean by corporate governance? Corporate means a company. In simple words, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So we are there to govern companies. The entire running of companies in our hand. So they develop professionals who will run companies. That is the objective of company secretary. What do? They conduct examinations, like they create the syllabus is by ICSI. The examination is held by ICSI. Then when you clear the examination, the membership is given by ICSI. Once the membership is given, then they give you how to do in practical life, how do you have to actually do the work. They have given secretarial standards issued by ICSI. So ICSI has done a lot to for the they are the body only which is being incorporated for company secretaries to regulate, develop and regulate the CS profession. Clear till here?
Clear.
Now you and me both. I am a company secretary and you want to become a company secretary. Both of us are regulated by an act at the moment. Which is the name of the act?
Company Secretary Act
1980. So for me, if I give wrong advice to my clients or if I take bribes, etc., and try to bribe, so then even the CS Act 1980 can take action on me. Same way on you. If you try to copy in your examination, you can be debarred as per the CS Act 1980. Clear till here?
Yes, sir.
The CS and this entire is connected with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. the CS functions are under the jurisdiction of the MCA. So many times notifications are given by MCA to ICSI, then ICSI implements it on all the company secretaries. The objective of them, the institute, is to provide top quality education to the CS and the best qualities set standards to CS members. And ICSI has done a extremely tremendously good job in developing the CS profession. You see what it was there few years back, and now it is a booming profession. And there are so many articles. If I just take you through, regulation number 6 has been introduced by SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India. Regulation 6 of SEBI LODR Act 2015. So listing obligation disclosure requirement. It is applicable to listed companies. It is stated that every single listed company has to appoint a company secretary only as a compliance officer. So the profession has got a huge scope after this introduction. That means every listed company, Tata's, Mahindra's, Reliance, L&T, you have Godrej, all these companies are there. All of them have to appoint who as a company secretary, who as a compliance officer, who only a CS. Because of which the scope has become so huge, you can just imagine. Now tell me one thing, your books come from which part? If you ask for the books, do you see if you give a revaluation, all those communications are made to Noida, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Because the ICSI headquarters are there in New Delhi. ICSI headquarters are there in New Delhi. However, there are 4 regional offices also. One is in Delhi, other was in
Kolkata, Mumbai. Sorry,
Delhi, yes, very good. So it was in Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata and Mumbai. So in ICSI Mumbai, I used to teach as well. Okay. Now coming one of ICSI Center for Corporate Governance, Research, Training, Navi Mumbai, one for Center of Excellence, Hyderabad, 72 chapters across India. So these are some of the facts that the branches where all it is there. It is important to know who is the ICSI president. And
CS Deshpande.
Very good. So it is CS Devendra Deshpande, and vice president is CS Manish Gupta. Then there are few events that was read, so you can just read it up, where it was celebration of the 53rd foundation day of ICSI. So the ICSI incorporated by the government of India on, so now these are some events that is there, so there will be some factual things given. Is country's premier professional body. ICSI is a country's premier professional body promoting good corporate governance. Yes or no?
Yes.
Good corporate governance means good corporate governance means practices. Good administration they are suggesting. Risk management measures. Now you all at a young age you all might not know what are risk management, but in companies today we are taught how to manage risk. Tell me one thing, if you are working in a listed company, isn't it into business?
Yes.
No, it will be into business only. A company will be doing business. In business, it's a very simple concept. Bigger the business, what will be big?
Bigger the company.
Bigger the risk. Okay.
The risk, bigger the business.
The objective is obviously bigger return, but also we want bigger return. That is why we've taken bigger steps. But this risk has to be managed. This risk has to be managed in a professional way. So nowadays you have risk could be in the form of simple risk, could be business risk. The business is shut down, so we have to, as a company secretary, we will suggest that you set up another branch, you open another vertical, business vertical, go in another thing. So we have to keep steering the company, because governance in means gubernate, which means to steer. So the objective is to steer the company through all the into profitability. Risk management is there. Then risk management could be product delivery not on time. So how do you manage that? You have a proper softwares in place. We have risk of employee leaving and going and maybe taking away data. So we have proper computers which have all these tracking modes where we come to know what you are doing on your computer. All these unlimited risk management techniques are there which you will learn on higher levels. Okay. Then the theme was powering the Atmanirbhar Bharat through innovation and entrepreneurship. Now, tell me one thing. In today's time, does it make sense to be dependent on anyone?
No, but dependence is important, right? Like,
Exactly. Understand one thing. We are talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat. When I say Atmanirbhar Bharat means India today manufactures everything. If we are dependent on Russia for oil, for example, and there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, the our imports will be hit, so then our production will get spoiled. So we should already have all these manufacturing plants in place. If you go to see the automobile sector, the entire pricing is down. Why? Anyone knows? If today you go in the market to buy a car, there will be a waiting of 6 months to 8 months. Yes or no?
yes,
The reason is the manufacturing is stalled due to a chip, EVM chip. There is some chip which is a shortage in global markets. So because of that, we are also having. So if we only became manufacturers, it would be a lot better than depending on other countries. No doubt, we can never be completely independent, but as independent as we can be, will be much better. And this we
yes,
can
sir.
be through entrepreneurship and innovation. The another one is 22nd National Conference of PCS on the theme of passion for profession, empowering entrepreneurship and excellence, inaugurated on this in at Kolkata. Now this is again a fact. So you have to see it was in the presence of Dr. Naurang Saini, who was the chairperson. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav initiated by the government. Okay, they called in for innovative ideas so that we can become Atmanirbhar, that is self-sufficient. Now again, another one was there in 49th National Convention of Company Secretaries. Now some of these are events, so these are pure facts. You just have to just tick some points and you are good. The institute organizes every year annual mega congregation of company secretaries, National Convention of Company Secretaries. Okay, this 49th convention, the Universal Dharma was organized on January 6th August at Bangalore. You can just read who was the chief guest, or the special guest was Smriti Irani. Now coming to the next one is your update on environment, biodiversity, climate change and sustainable development. Now earlier, as a lawyer, I can tell you, earlier all this was not taken seriously. Environment. Now it is huge awareness among people, businesses, investors, that they want their company to follow eco-friendly products and measures. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So companies today have started realizing that we have to go eco-friendly, okay, and use as less damaging product as possible because of climate change, etc. Now first we are talking about the climate change report. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has cautioned that, tell me one thing, I don't know whether you know or not. Is India at risk or no? Climate change risk?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. The risk is high or less?
High. High.
Let's see. I will take you to one actual climate change report. This is made by the environmentalist. Okay, by the. Now see, this is the exact report. Now we can just say high, but let's understand how high and how low. Will every single country be negatively affected with climate change?
Of
Yes or no?
yes.
Answer is no. You can
How?
Google it up. Some countries will positively affect with climate change. Countries like certain parts of United States, certain parts of Canada, and certain part of Australia, and certain parts of Russia. So this part is Russia. Now why? Because these places, now what will happen? There is global warming. So
Yes.
places which were extremely cold will now
Will now
become
become warm.
warm, will now become habitable. So they will get much more land to produce, and more land means more progress.
Yes, sir.
So if you Google up, you will come to know countries that will benefit from climate change. So these are these three countries. Canada, because it is so cold there, now it is warming up twice as fast than the world. Do you know that Canada in future won't be this cold? So you can Google it up, you will come to know. Now if we see countries, when we say red, they are most at risk. You know which is the most at risk closest to us? Can you see this place? This part?
Yes.
Which is this part? Is Bangladesh. Bangladesh, just go and see how much floods happen there. Every year there is so many casualties, climate change refugees, because they believe that it will submerge. Have you heard of Maldives?
Yes, sir.
Do you all want to go after marriage to Maldives? After marriage, you all want to go to Maldives, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Now you all have to go fast and marry early because Maldives will not be there. Have you heard of that? That Maldives will soon be submerged in water due to climate change. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I just heard it's getting warm.
Yeah.
Something
So
will happen.
it's an island. So water with global warming, the sea water level will rise, and Maldives will no longer be there in future. Okay, so you'll have to plan your journey and marriage faster if you want to go. Now, countries like India come around a moderate risk. So we will have, so they have given your, so for us, we are under the moderate risk category. So both we and Pakistan around the same time are vulnerable. We will have floods and flash floods which will destroy crops. So ultimately there is
Water flash floods.
flash floods. Flash floods is like it's not raining for long time, but when it rains so heavily that it creates a flood. Now just understand one thing, like uh, if you want to have, or maybe there is a plant, okay, there is a plant, you put regular water, you put it, so it will grow, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But if I just submerge it in floods, will it grow?
It will die.
It will die. So that's what they are saying. Combine, there will be lot of droughts in India, not less rains, and sudden raining which leading to floods which are more dangerous to us. So that's what they're saying, that the report stated that the climate change related to agriculture and food systems are also there. It will intensify with the changing climate. It is further mentioned that the temperatures will not only rise, but it will also reduce the quality of living and the standards of living. Certain parts they are saying, like Delhi, it's still very difficult to survive if you are not already in that place. You bring a foreigner and you put him in Delhi, it is possible that he will find it very difficult to breathe and his eyes will burn. We saw that when they had IPL matches here? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So again, climatic condition, they will threaten food security. Okay, and all these effects are there. There is a major projected impact of climate change on food, agriculture, decline in fisheries also, because due to the water sewage in the sea and all of that, even the water is getting polluted where there is fisheries, there are oil spills. So because of that also, they are saying there is going to be decline in fisheries. Do you believe that there will be decline in fisheries in future? According to you,
There
just
will be.
now, what is the logic? Understand? Due to the rising population, there has been overfishing, which is also bad for the environment. Okay, so all this is going to play negatively on this, and how negatively they have given you the impact on India. Due to extreme climatic conditions, the rice production can decrease from 10% to 30%, whereas maize means what? Corn, the butta. Maize production can decrease from 25% to 70%, assuming that the temperature increases from 1 degree to 4 degrees Celsius. Tell me, is it good news or bad news?
Very bad news.
Very bad news. Feeling so sad and don't know what to do. But you don't have to worry. Why? Because we are taking measures and a lot of conferences are there to really make India into a zero emission country. Can you believe that can ever be possible?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. You'll have to live till 2070. Yes or no? To really tell me. So
Yes.
this they have India commits to net zero. So this was Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, who had committed that India will become net zero carbon emission by 2017. So this is your UK Prime Minister John Boris, Narendra Modi, and the UN Secretary. Okay, so all these people, they had a conference of COP26. Now, what is COP26? It is your Conference of Parties. Conference of Party 26, where they said that we have started working against climate change now to protect it. And what they will do, we will see in a short span. Firstly, we are seeing what all is the plan of action for these global leaders. What are they thinking? First, national energy conservation. So now these are again few facts that will come. National Energy Conversion Day is celebrated across India every year. Tell me one thing, with celebrating Energy Day, can we tackle climate change?
No.
So but you have to remember, Energy Day is when?
December 14. 14 December.
Yeah. But at least people will come to know about awareness. There will be a awareness. Okay, fine.
Yes, but no implementation on that.
Very good. So the day is also known as Energy Efficient Day. Some people they switch off. Some countries or states they switch off the lights for 1 hour on that day just as a awareness. Okay, now let's read what we have also done. Union Ministry of Power. Ministry of Power has celebrated the National Energy Conversion Week under the Azadi Ke Amrit Mahotsav. They have conducted few workshops. I'm sure you will say no, but I'll show you all that you'll know it. Have you heard of BEE ratings? Bureau of Energy Efficiency ratings ever?
No, sir.
I told you all will say no. But now when I'll tell you this incident, you will know and you will say yes. In the AC that you all use, have you all see this kind of stars?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, just climb up on that AC, not on the AC, just climb up and check that below these what is written. What is written? It will be rating. This rating is given by whom? BEE. Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So they show if it's a 5-star, means it is more efficient or less efficient?
More efficient.
More efficient. So now all these electrical equipments have started got these BEE ratings, where 5 stars shows more energy efficiency and 1 star shows less energy efficiency. Okay. Next, then India, as I showed you about the COP26, we will become zero. What was the objective? Zero. We will become net zero carbon emission.
Is that even possible?
Yeah. Now again, it is possible. I will show you how. What is the plan? Okay, this is internationally followed by other countries. Let's see how it is. E-Amrit portal on electric vehicles. Firstly, they found that automobiles use fuel such as uh, petrol, diesel, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, because of that, because of petrol, diesel, they cause a lot of harmful gases, CO2, carbon monoxide, and all those greenhouse gases, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So, what did we think that if we can convert it into electric cars, we can really have no pollution, because in electric cars we plan that we will have solar panels which will fuel electricity, and we will then use these the electric solar panels, because of which the electric cars will run. Ultimately, right now we are using the normal electric power points to run this electric cars, electric motor vehicles. So isn't it a big step towards?
It's a big step, but I don't think Indians would really buy electric cars because it's too expensive.
Now again, I agree with you. This was the dream child of Tesla initially, which they had promoted this. In India, you have Tatas, like how Tesla is working. Tata is working on the same lines. Tata Motors. You see their share price; it has just skyrocketed. Now Tata's has done everything. There have been electric power stations. In India, Tata's has collaborated with the top builders such as Lodha's, Raheja's to set up electric power pumps in malls, to set up these electric, power stations where you can take an electric car. Though it is expensive, but we have started seeing a lot of cars with and vehicles with this electric, uh, you know, fuel being used. Yes or no? They have these
Yes.
green color number plates, if you must have seen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So with time, the objective is to lower the cost, and since the cost is high now, the government has started giving a lot of tax benefit to electric companies who are making this, so that it becomes popular, right? So this is uh, what they have thought. Now again, so still I have not come to the purpose how I believe that we can reach zero emissions. Then e-IMRIT portal significance. Now again, aims to accelerate the initiative of the government on awareness of electric vehicles and sensitize customers on adopting electric vehicles. So can I say electric vehicles are the future?
Yes. Yes.
100%, because in abroad everyone has almost started going for EV, and in India also huge steps have been taken. Government has started giving a lot of tax benefits to electric vehicle manufacturers, and also those who are setting up electric power pumps. Okay, the aim is to influence millions of users and stakeholders to adopt electric vehicles. Now only the price is the hurdle is the price. The price with time has come down, and cheaper ways have been introduced as well. Then, with talking about climate change, we have Clean Ganga mission. Okay, now the national mission of Clean Ganga has registered in the Guinness Book of World Record on the first day of Ganga Utsav. for the highest number of photos of handwritten notes that were uploaded on Facebook in an hour. So again, with this, government has created a separate corpus or separate funds to clean the Ganga. Now the Union Minister Jal Shakti Singh inaugurated the fifth edition. You can read up the river festival we celebrated as a glory of the river Ganga. Not only of that, but of all rivers in India. Now you tell me, uh, have you ever visited the Ganga?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So even I had visited there. It has actually very clean water comes up if you go right up till the start. Extremely clean. But towards the end, the people start, creating a lot of, man-made issues, which now government is trying to take measures to clean up what the hurdles the humans have created. Clear till here?
Yes.
Yes. Now again, this is important, very important from climate change point of view. This is being done worldwide. And remember, someone had asked me that whether we will be able to achieve zero emissions. This is the answer. Now let's understand what is this. Let's first understand how do you achieve zero. First is what amounts to pollution we need to understand. Yes or no?
Yes.
So there are these greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, which harm the environment. If I somehow change my usage from this carbon, from the greenhouse gases to a clean fuel, and everyone using the clean fuel, don't you think that we can achieve zero?
We can.
If hypothetically everybody starts using a clean form of energy, that is only how we can do. So which is that clean form of energy?
Electrical car.
Yeah, electric car is different, but that energy to run the car is what I'm talking about. Like how you have petrol, how you have diesel, which how will you run that car? So again, the answer is hydrogen. Answer is what?
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. Now, hydrogen is the most abundantly available gas in the world. So, what they are planning to do is the H2O is there, that is water, yes or no? So, they have
Yes, sir.
found that from H2O we can separate the H2, that is, and get hydrogen. This hydrogen can be used as a energy, can be used as a energy. This energy they plan to set up a hydrogen plant where they can create hydrogen, store hydrogen, and then have pipes, ACs being functioning through that. Even when you go for electric pumps, the entire energy is being created through the the electric cars are being powered through hydrogen. Now, one more thing is to even run this power plant, you require energy, yes or no, to have this power plant which will separate H2 from O and then this energy being used as a fuel.
Yes.
So they said this energy we will use solar panels. We will use solar panels. Accordingly, if this project, so this is not a project just of India, other countries have UK, USA have started working on this project. Just like I don't know, electric cars were there. It was a concept of Elon Musk. He had also set for transportation of like how we have trains. What was the name of the train? Anyone knows? Have you heard of Hyperloop?
Yes, sir.
So Hyperloop is a zero energy. It's completely run on solar energy. Okay, and basis of vacuum and wind energy that it is powering Hyperloop. So it will be faster than a plane. It will use zero energy and it can transport you from one place to another place, and it can also be incorporated in today's infrastructure. Sometimes what happens, it's a good concept but we cannot implement it today. Hyperloop can be, because imagine you have to break in roads, yes or no?
Yes.
If I tell you I want to make a metro, then they will say, hey, metro underground, you'll have to dig up all the roads. So it's very difficult to implement. But Hyperloop doesn't talk about digging up holes at all. It talks about setting up these, like how you have bridges. So from the air, so just watch up Hyperloop, you will come to know what I'm saying. It's an worldwide, it got success. So Elon Musk has given it out how Hyperloop is created as a research paper, white paper, and everyone is using it. That is one thing. Another aspect was about this hydrogen plant, green plant, where they separate and get hydrogen and use it as a fuel. Now, since hydrogen will be used and it is abundantly used in hydrogen can be used as an energy and it's abundantly there, we can achieve this target. So now,
So sir, hydrogen will be made from water, right?
yes,
H2O, that is.
yes, and
Isn't there already water scarcity?
drinking water scarcity is there.
Okay.
70% of 76% of the earth is of water. Drinking water
So
is only 1-2%. That is one thing. So and with time we will also find how to get hydrogen, because it is abundantly there in the atmosphere. Now the NTPC, it's a company, it's a state-run power giant, announced on 15th 2021. It has awarded a standalone fuel cell based, standalone मतलब एक अकेला प्लांट बनेगा, प्रोजेक्ट बनेगा, which is fuel cell based. So that means it wants to use hydrogen as a fuel. Clean hydrogen microgrid. What is it? It's a green hydrogen microgrid. Green hydrogen means what? Hydrogen, when you are acquiring hydrogen, there should not be any emission of energy. One, because we are using. So now this seems very this, but that's the project. Okay, and it is made in Andhra Pradesh. A statement by the Ministry of Power that a project fuel based microgrid with hydrogen production using it as a hydrolyzer in NTPC greenhouse has been awarded at Vishakhapatnam. India's first greenhouse micro grid project is in line with PM Modi's vision of the country becoming a carbon neutral by 2070. It will be the first greenhouse based energy storage project, one of the largest in the world. So it is the first green hydrogen based energy project in India. And once it is made, then from that, what all learnings we'll have, we'll set it up in all the different parts of India as well. Hydrogen is hydrogen at India's first hydrogen based power grid project will be used using the advanced 240 kilowatt solid oxide electrolyzer by taking input power from the nearby floating solar project. So this entire project will get the energy. Input power will come from where? Remember I told you, to run this factory also you will require energy.
yes, solar energy.
So it will be from the close by solar project. And electrolyzer means what? Oxide electrolyzer means what? H2 is being separated from H2O. So to do this, they are going to set it up. And the hydrogen will be produced during sunshine hours and will be stored at a high pressure and will be electrified using 50 kilowatt solid fuel cells. As per the notification, the system will work from 5 a.m. in the evening to 7 p.m. So now let's talk about the latest development in science, technology, IT, computers and space science. First talking about the Chandrayaan. Now the Chandrayaan 2, okay, which is about sending our satellite onto the moon and trying to get more and more space information as possible. So there was a unsuccessful attempt to launch the Chandrayaan 2 where there was an explosion and we could not achieve the success. So now the Chandrayaan 3 mission, that is the third mission, third planner, where we are going to send it on the moon, okay, in the orbiter of moon. Now let's see. The launch, when is it there? It is, the launch is scheduled on August 2022. It informed the Union Minister of the State, Independent Charge Science and Technology, Jitendra Singh, eh, that the launch will be in August 2022. Now, the Chandrayaan mission is the third planned lunar explosion. Lunar is the moon exploration mission by the ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. It has come obviously after the Chandrayaan 2, but the Chandrayaan 2 was not a success. What it planned to do, let me explain. Okay. So, can you see this image?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first, the Chandrayaan, this rocket will go uh, in the orbiter of the moon. They will send this part, this machine called as the orbiter, and it will continuously keep communicating with us. It's like a satellite communicating tool. Chandrayaan 2 was successfully installed the orbiter, this device, into the moon orbiter, and it went. Then when it had to land on the moon, this is the landing device. It is called as a lander, and once it lands, then they have this rover, which is this machine. It runs through this solar panel, and it can keep going for certain kilometers. It's like a car. It will keep going and it will keep getting the information, send it to the orbiter, and the orbiter will then send it to back into India. So with this we will get more and more information about the moon, the lunar. Now what happened is with the Chandrayaan 2, the orbiter, it successfully deployed this machine in the orbit. However, while landing, it could not have a soft landing and it crashed. So tell me one thing, now when Chandrayaan 3 is starting, will it have to put a orbiter again?
No.
No. So they are going to use that Chandrayaan 2 orbiter only for communication purpose. Only the lander and the rover has been now improvised and changed. So let's read this, okay? Now it follows from Chandrayaan 2, which though successfully deployed its orbiter around the moon, but failed to do a soft landing. Its lander. So can you see this lander? It could not land it properly and deploy its rover after a last minute glitch in the soft landing. So the lander, and it could not even deploy the rover. So this main purpose is a rover only, it's like a car which is powered through solar panels, which will get the information on the moon and then send it back. So Chandrayaan 3 will also include a modified lander and a rover. It will not include an orbiter due to the successful deployment of the orbiter in the moon's orbit. Then coming to, so that was about Chandrayaan. Now talking about some information in ISRO. The new ISRO chief is S. Somnath. He is appointed as the chief of the ISRO. Prior to joining ISRO, Somnath was the director of Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. He succeeded by KS. They've given you the information. KS Sivan. Now talking about the parliament. For there has been so much introduction of technology after 2020. Yes or no?
Yes.
But our parliament and the way of functioning was still old fashioned. पुराने जमाने के जैसा ही चल रहा था. So now we brought in something called as a digital Sansad app, digital parliament app, where citizens can also view the parliament on the app. It's like an app which will cover their attendance and all those things which we can also view. The Digital Sansad app is an initiative of the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, who is constantly making the parliament proceedings more accessible to the people. The Sansad app will allow citizens to able to watch the parliament proceedings, activities in parliament, as well as initiatives taken by the temple of democracy at the click of a button of a phone. The app will also contain speeches of parliament members right from 1947 onwards. So they must have a database of these speeches. It will also be put up in this app. Then coming of oceanology. Oceanology and the oceans of India or the world have been the least researched because it is very difficult to reach below the surface of the ocean beyond a point. Yes or no?
Yes.
Not only that, there is a very mysterious place on the world. Anybody knows what is that?
Mariana Drug, that Mariana Drug.
This near the one place. If you just research, it's very difficult. It has a magnetic field where ships go, they get sink. If there is someone flying, they will go through these storms.
Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle. So, though there are these places which people can't reach, now oceans are something which we could never reach even in the past. Now we are making steps to go deeper into the ocean, understand, extract minerals, understand the surface below the earth as well. So for that they have made this scheme, OSMART. O is for Ocean Smart Scheme. Ocean Services, Modeling, Application, Resources and Technology is a scheme that aims at promotion of ocean research and also understanding the early signs of weather changes. In tsunami, have you heard of tsunami?
Yes, sir.
Now, in Japan, there was so much loss of life due to earthquakes below the oceans, which lead to these huge waves called as tsunamis, which keep going into the land without rescending. Normally क्या होता है? Sea में से waves आती है and then they go back. Yes or no?
Yes.
Imagine a wave that keeps coming forward and doesn't stop at all. How scary will that be?
It will cause
Destruction. So these are called as tsunami waves. Tsunami waves keep coming forward, then another tsunami wave will come, another tsunami wave, and they run miles into the land. So they destroy and submerge the entire cities. So if we get early warning signals, at least we can save human life by transporting them to higher places and able to evict them. So again, so that's the objective is to put up, say, these information devices in the oceans. The scheme also aims at addressing ocean development activities such as technology, services, resources, science, observation, and implementing a blue economy. Now, what is a blue economy? A blue economy is blue means for the oceans they are using blue, where from the oceans we can extract minerals, we can get we can preserve the marine life, they do not get extinct. We have blue whales, we have all these seagulls, we have seals in the polar regions. So we be able to extract them and at the same time preserve them with sustainable development as well. So that's called as blue economy. The resources received from ocean is called as blue economy. Now the cabinet committee was there. It was chaired by PM Narendra Modi. Okay, they have given you all the little bit of facts. There's Ministry of Earth and Science. Now again, they also said that we have found a exoplanet. Exoplanet is a planet which is beyond what we know. It is a mass of 1.5 times than the Sun and 1.4 times bigger than Jupiter. By a study group in Ahmedabad-based Physical Research Laboratory, Professor Abhijit Chakravarti led the discovery team. Abhijit Chakravarti led to the discovery team with international collaboration from US and Europe. The exoplanet is located 725 light years away, and the first exoplanet K2 was at 600 light years away. Now coming to the Samandrayan mission again. Samudra means ocean. Mission. India's first unique man-made ocean mission. Samandrayan mission sends men into the deep sea in a submersible vehicle for deep ocean exploration, minerals, mining of rare minerals. Now only this 200 crores will be used to send 3 persons in a man-made submersible vehicle. The National Institute of Oceanology there has announced the Samandrayan mission in sync with the Gangayaan mission of ISRO. The total amount that they put, the Samandrayan mission is a part of a 6,000 crores deep ocean mission project. And also the ministry that is there is the Ministry of Earth Science on deep mission. It has approved it. We working towards a sustainable ocean resource where we extract all of this and use the ocean resources in a sustainable way that we have less impact, and we also leave something for the next generation. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh launched the India's first man-made oceanology in Chennai, and with this India has joined the elite club of nations such as US, Russia, France, Japan, China to have this niche technology and vehicles to carry out subsea activities as well. Clear till here?
Yes.
Yeah. Then they have given you few MCQs also, which you also need to know. It is there in the back. You should just know it. Now some of these are facts which you have to study. India's first bio-based hydrogen plant was built in Madhya Pradesh. So some points which they've given you, they can directly ask you. So this you can learn. Now again, the state high court has asked students not to wear religious things, in the hijab matter was in Karnataka, where in Karnataka they said that the hijab should not, and religious representation should not be taken up in schools. Next is, which country is organizing the One Ocean Summit? That is France. Kalpana Chawla Center for Research in Space Science and Technology has been inaugurated in the Chandigarh University. Now some facts, this is which you have to read. Who has been appointed as the new chief of ISRO? That is SS Somnath. So this is about with the chapter. In current affairs, from the book majority questions will come, and only from the book you read, it is enough. Second, also you read the day-to-day newspapers. Some of these questions will come from there, and questions of who are the cabinet ministers and all those current portfolio ministers, that is there. So with this we complete the entire chapter.